City, Oklahoma to Edmond, Oklahoma in 1974. And my husband had kind of pushed me to get in the real estate business. He saw how much I loved being a music teacher in the public schools. He saw how hard I worked. And he thought if he could get me into real estate, I'd make a whole lot of money. He was right. And so we moved to Edmond, Oklahoma. It was 1974. I affiliated with a firm in Edmond. There was no training. I did kind of learn how to fill out a listing agreement and a contract. And one day my manager took me to a subdivision and she dumped me out and gave me a stack of my cards and said, go knock on doors. Well, I had no earthly idea what I should say when I knocked on the door. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just supposed to give them a card. So I knocked on the first door. The person came to the door, and I started to give them a card, and they slammed the door on me. So I walked over and sat down on the curb, and I cried for about 3 hours, and finally she came back and picked me up. I didn't knock on any more doors. I was totally lost as to what I should do as a new agent. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August went by, and I had no transactions. Well, I did have a listing. And on the 27th day of August, my listing sold. In the meantime, I was screaming at God. Prayer is a really important thing in my life. So in my prayer time, I talked to him kind of like I talk to you all, which probably is not a good thing. But I said, you know, I have to be out of your will because I've gone from January to August and I've only had, you know, this one transaction. I cry every night. My family's sick of me. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I'm lost. I don't know anybody. We're in a brand new town. And so here's the deal. No wonder I wasn't struck by lightning. I said, here's the deal. I want 3 transactions, 3 valid transactions by the end of August. And if I get that, then I'll know I am in your will. But I don't think I am because I've been so miserable since January that I'm just a wreck. Well, I don't think you ever should talk to God like that. But when you're desperate, you do things you probably shouldn't do. But I had read that story in the Bible about Gideon, and he found a fleece, and if it was wet, he would do one thing, and if it was dry, he would do something else. And I just said, look, God, if Gideon can do this with you, I can too. So I prayed for these 3 transactions. Well, I had one because my listing sold. And so the 28th of August, my soft water guy referred a little young couple, little first-time home buyer. I had a guy from a lending institution qualify him. I went out, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we found the house. That deal was done. And I'm telling you, hope began to soar in my heart because I had not ever really failed at anything I attempted to do, even though I grew up in deep, deep poverty. You know, I just was a pick yourself up by the bootstraps kind of gal, and I didn't want to fail. So I had 2, and I thought, well, this is the 28th of August. I just know he's going to give me a 3rd one by the end of August. So the 29th came, nothing happened. The 30th came, nothing happened. And on the 31st day of August, 1974, I woke up really mad. And I said, I can't believe you did this to me. 2 is really close to 3, but the deal is 3. Why didn't you just give me 1? or maybe none. That would have made it far more clear. You know, that whiny, complaining kind of stuff. I was a real victim. And so I did what a lot of women do when they are so frustrated. I put on my blue jeans and I vacuumed. And about 10 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang, and it was the office saying some people were in our subdivision. The listing agent and her assistant were both gone. And would I go over and show the property? So I put on my professional clothes. I did not put on holey jeans and flip-flops or shorts. I went over in professional clothes, and I could tell right away that house wasn't right for them. And I said, well, let me go show you one a couple of blocks away. I think it might be better suited for you. So we went to the property and the magic happened. We walked through the house, they moved in, they placed furniture. You've been there and done that. You know exactly when you've sold a home. And so I am so excited because I know I have my third deal. And that was the deal, 3. We go outside and suddenly, their name happened to be Jones. They walk in that corner of the front yard away from me, and they are talking. And I had this uneasy feeling in my stomach because I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell it's bad for me. And finally, Mr. Jones walks over to me, and he says, I would love to buy this house from you, but we just can't do that. We've looked at property for 2 weeks with Lily Mae Tillman. Would you say that name with me?
Lily Mae Tillman.
Say it again the way you think I would say it.
Lily Mae Tillman.
And he said, she's purchased breakfast for us, she's bought our lunch, she's taken us to dinner. In fact, the kids spilled ice cream in the back seat of their car. He said, we just can't do this to her. She's a wonderful person, and we've got to buy this house through her. Well, I knew they were really my buyer according to the MLS rules and all that, but I am not going to make anybody buy something through me if they want to buy it through somebody else. I mean, that's stupid. So they get in the car, they drive away. I go home and I cry. And I cry. And I cry because I came so close. At 7 p.m., my phone rang, and it was Chuck Jones. And he said, Mo, we just finished meeting with Lily Mae Tillman, and she said we needed to do the right thing. Say that with me.
Do the right thing.
That's the I and Y4C 2 T's. And we needed to do the right thing and buy the house from you. So can you help us write up the offer? By midnight, I had my third deal. Now, I want you to know that the greatest business lesson I have ever learned in my life came from Lily Mae Tillman. She taught me that when you do the right thing, you change the course of a life. Because I had become so discouraged. I had already enrolled in graduate school. And I had already attended the first 2 weeks of class when this happened. and I dropped out of graduate school and continued to work real estate. I changed my stinking thinking, and in the next 6 months, I did 35 transactions. Now, Lily Mae is gone. When we had the convention at Amelia Island, I don't know if any of you were with us when we had that convention, they tried to bring her husband. Lily Mae was in a nursing home and she was near, well, not near death, but she was in her latter days. And they tried to bring her husband and they couldn't because he had serious Alzheimer's, just as a tribute to her, so people could at least meet him, and it didn't happen. But I want you to know she's gone. She was an elderly woman. She walked with a cane. She was century 21. I didn't know her well at all. She had a great reputation. She was very professional. She was very good, a very good producer. And she was humble, she was kind, she was gracious. And my dream when I came with Keller Williams was to build an army of Lily Mae Tillmans. People who are willing to do the right thing no matter what. She lost a deal because she did the right thing. But I know the Lord blessed her with lots of other deals because she did that. Many times when you do the right thing, you don't even know the ripple effect it will have. You have no idea. I gave her flowers. I gave her a referral fee. She didn't want a referral fee. I made her take it. And she became my business hero. And I don't ever want you to forget the name, Lily Mae Tillman. And she's in heaven today, I'm sure. And there are 189,000 people who know her name.